Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses. This is Todd Hoffman and Trent Hoffman. You're listening to Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 118. Today, we're going to be talking about Andor Season 1, Episode 4. I believe it's called Aldhani. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, that is what we're going to be talking about today. Hey, said this before, gonna say it again. Please catch us out on, please watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Big T Little T. That's where you're gonna find Trent and Little E. We're gonna be out there playing. We're playing a lot of Fortnite lately, so check us out, please. If you follow us here, you listen to us, give us a follow on Twitch, twitch.tv/Big T Little T. That would really help us out. Uh, we're playing flag football, and we got our last game this week, so super excited about that. Been super fun getting to know the kids, coaching the kids. It's been great. Really fun experience, and yeah, just getting excited for fall. I can't believe it is fall. It's happening right now. I know everyone doesn't experience those seasons, but for us in Chicago, it is getting cooler, and it's very nice. Want to take a quick moment and just, again, thoughts and prayers out to all the Floridians out there that are affected by Hurricane Ian. That was insane, crazy winds, crazy rain. Praying for protection and safety and getting back on your feet and all that. I mean, it's just crazy. So shout out for everybody out in Florida. Crazy time. So okay, so we got something to talk about. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin with this episode. It's just fantastic. And the reason I think it's fantastic is because of the world building. There was not, I'm pretty sure there was not a single laser bolt or lightsaber or any kind of thing fired. Nothing exploded in this film in this show, in this episode, and I think that's great. um it's very interesting, and how the pacing of this, I still, the pacing's a little weird, but as far as like the overall structure of how this is going, I absolutely love it. So like 1 and 2, very similar thing, kind of world building. I mean, there was some action and stuff like that. And 3 probably had the most action, right? But then you got this episode, really is a great setup episode. And yeah, it's just, it picks up obviously right where episode 3 left off. And Cassian and Luthen are basically, they are on the run, kinda. Luthen knows where he's going, and he offers Cassian 200,000 credits to be a mercenary for this job. And so he's like, hey, we are trying to rob the Empire. And why don't, he's like, I know what motivates you from the outside. I don't, maybe not necessarily know what motivates you on the inside. And we know that Cassian is looking for his sister, and that's probably the motivation that keeps on going with him, trying to see if he could figure out, where his sister is. Again, no flashbacks. This is all present in this one. And so then we got our first shot of Coruscant. I love the little headline. It said, "Capital of the Galaxy." Oh my gosh, the prequel vibes are here. It's great seeing Coruscant again. And we meet the Imperial Security Bureau, the ISB. Now, this has been in Legends for a long time. If you're a Legends fan, ISB has been in canon for, well, in Legends canon for a while, and now we finally get to see it and experience it here in canon. If there's any Jason Solo fans out there, he was the head of ISB. I mean, this is so cool. The building looks great. It's great. And we meet Deidre Miro, and she is someone we've seen. I hate to say this, but this is like she reminds me of Ellen DeGeneres, but I know that's not her. I think the actress is Denise Guga. I don't know. I'm horrible with names. It's just a thing. So Deidre Miro is kind of again similar to the corp sector guy, Surreal or whatever his name is. Surreal, yeah, Surreal, yeah. He is trying to make a name for himself, and so is she. I love the kind of contrast that we're seeing. And so she's in the Imperial, and obviously he is not. He's in the corporate sector kind of security thing. And so they have this meeting. We saw this in trailer, and everybody's in white. And so they just talk about different things, and the lead guy is um, being very snippy, very Imperial. But we essentially what we have is that we hear the rumblings of what happened out there, and so one guy got ousted, and another guy picked it up, and so. But Deidre wants a little piece of the action. She feels like this is something that I want to do, and she's seeing patterns of rebel intelligence. There's a really cool line. The head guy says, again, names I'm horrible, and he says something to the effect of like, "What do we do?" And he said, "Healthcare," which I thought was interesting because I'm in the healthcare business. But he says we provide healthcare, meaning that when there's a disease or something, we want to make sure that it's eradicated and that we're trying to eliminate all the bugs and the diseases and stuff like that. And I thought that was super cool. I thought that was an interesting way to explain what the ISB does. Again, they're using data and analytics to drive change and cooperation in the different sectors. Again, you're seeing the kind of formation of like this kind of very militant and driven thing with the ISB kind of backing all that up. Um, so on Aldhanian, we find out that Luthen has this kind of like little rogue squadron, this little band of rebels that he is trying to get information on, or really that they know this is kind of a safe. This planet is halfway point in the mid rim, and they have bankroll, or they have a garrison there, and they're going to steal basically the payroll data and all this fun stuff. So he's got this ground crew. Cassian kind of walks into it. This is where we see the space AK-47s. Um, and it's great. And so we kind of meet up with them, and they have to travel by foot. And there's like these TIE fighters that patrol, but he gets in with the kind of band of rebels, and it kind of intercuts between that, what's going on there, and then the ISB stuff. And so, but sticking with Cassian and the little crew, they're kind of hesitant because they're trying to do this in 3 days. There's this kind of, space comet or whatever that are happening that would be a great distraction for the native people. That maybe there's going to be a large populace there, and therefore the Imperial would be kind of distracted with that, making sure that they're maintained, and they're going to try to hit them where it hurts and steal this money and get out of there. So they have an inside guy, which is great. So he's Imperial. We get to hear not only the classic TIE fighter sound, but then we get to hear the classic speeder bike sound. All great stuff. But they're all a little hesitant on bringing Cassian the crew, but they essentially get Cassian up to speed and make this happen. And so that is what is going on with Cassian. And they just kind of leave it at, he's got to learn a couple different things, know when he has to drive and the cargo lifter and all this stuff, and get them all prepared. Now, I was mistaken. I thought we're going to see everything in episode 4, but we didn't. This is definitely the one scene where they're kind of rappelling down, and there's guys walking on the top of the thing. That is in the trailer, so we're actually probably going to see that in episode 5. That's okay. It's all good. It's fine. So the other cool thing that's happening now is that we have Luthen going back to Coruscant, and he's an antiquities dealer. He got stuff. He's got tchotchkes, but really expensive tchotchkes, and things that there is, you know, there is this thing too with like purging some of those old relics of the Empire. So I'm hoping that we get to see a little bit of that play out in Cassian. That'd be great. But Luthen has an assistant. Mon Mothma comes with a new driver. We get this cool cloud car. We got all the Art Deco we need. We see Luthen putting, like, as he's landing the ship, he is putting on a wig, getting into character for what he's going to be. And again, I don't know if Mon Mothma knows his true self, but they are in cahoots. Oh my gosh. This whole shop is full of Easter eggs. They said, oh, there's not going to be any Easter eggs in Andor. I heard that up, but, or maybe Tony said that. I'm sure Tony Gilroy said that, whatever. But man, there is a ton of Easter eggs. At least it's not as blatant as in Rogue One when they zoom in on the blue milk, but we have Easter eggs here. All kinds of stuff. There's so many to name. But, you know, the obvious one is we got Mando armor. We got Sith armor from Star Killer from the Force Unleashed video game. We got this cool Sith armor in the back. It's the one with the kind of spiky thing. We got Wookiee horns and Wookiee helmets. We got a Gungan shield, Sith holocrons, stuff from Star Wars Rebels with the mural with the father, sister, and son. Plo Koon species mask, an Utapau cane, everything. There's so much stuff in there. So that is definitely worth it. It's very similar to what we saw in Solo with Voss. I mean, just full of tchotchkes and cool little things that will just make you go crazy as a nerd, as a Star Wars aficionado or whatever. It's worth looking back. But it's interesting the conversation that they have. They're both Mon Mothma and Luthen are playing all different kinds of roles, and they're, you know, now Mon says that she has somebody that she wants to bring in. I don't know if that's Bale. I think Bale's in it from the beginning, so I think it might be somebody different. But we have that whole thing going on, and so then she kind of comes back. She gets a present for that's the front is get a present for her husband. It's her husband's birthday, which is factual. In the design, if you look at the design, it's kind of like um, almost like the mural from The Last Jedi with the dark side and light side. I don't know. I got those vibes. I don't know if it's true. Whatever. There is some similarities. You know, Lucas poetry, it rhymes. You know, that kind of stuff. Um, but what I love, and it's interesting, like I thought we're gonna see Mon Mothma with a family. We get to see the husband, but it's very interesting that he's like aloof to what's going on. She's trying to fight. How can I put it? She's trying to fight for the good, and I forget the planet she mentions. Um, I forget what she mentions, but that plan is mentioned in Clone Wars about like she essentially says to her husband like they just like cut off the supplies and stuff like that. And then in Clone Wars, I believe she mentions like that planet is destroyed or something like that with the Empire. I might have to do some research. I'm doing this on a fly, people. I don't remember, but I know that it was in Rebels. It's mentioned in Rebels, and or Clone Wars, and Mon Mothma makes that it's the same planet. So that's kind of cool. The other thing that is interesting is like he she Sly Moore is one of the guests on the list, and she is one of Palpatine's closest advisors, and you see her in Revenge of the Sith. She's that crazy vampire looking lady. Um, yeah. So she's one of the guests. And at the end, the husband's like, why does everything be so boring and sad? I just think he's so it's kind of that upper class, like I don't care what's going on in the world, and Mon Mothma is trying to fight it in the Senate every day, and she knows she's losing the battle, and so she has to she it's like, don't do this again. It's on the calendar. I like that's like normal marriage stuff, but then it's that bit of like he just doesn't understand what she does or what wants to do. Um, yeah, it's super cool. It's great. Uh, yeah. So it kind of ends and sets up like, okay, we're gonna do this heist, and we have Manmathma, struggling not only with Luthen, not only Senate, and then also with her family life, which I thought was very interesting. There's a lot of, it's not as easy as you think. It's not all cherries and roses here for the rebellion. It's, and really what Luthen is looking for is money, and she's trying to funnel some money to essentially pay for the rebellion, which I find interesting. Man, what I like, cinematography by far is it's fantastic. There's so many cool things, just a lot of cool world building, a lot of things that you just didn't see, but like when we see the ship landing, there's this cool like kind of like airport thing that looks amazing, and then surreal. Part of the plot is that he because of what his actions that he's due, now the Empire's coming in and he's no longer needed. So now we see him go, we go to another Coruscant. He's coming in on kind of like a local freighter. And then we go see, he goes into the sub levels of Coruscant, which is awesome. So if you're not familiar with Coruscant, it is a city built on cities. We get that from Rick Oley in episode 1, the pilot of the Nabooian cruiser, and it's cities built on cities. And so the higher you go, the more money and respect you have. And then the lower you go, it's like middle class and then lower class. And then if you get really deep into Coruscant, it's not good, very sub levels. That's where we get the poor one for Star Wars 1313, that Boba Fett video game that never happened and would have been so cool. But Star Wars 1313 is revisited in which one is that? Clone Wars season 7 with the Martinez sisters and Ahsoka. We get to see 1313. So as you get lower, it's not good. So we know Surreal is in the middle class. There's just cool shots of just like normal stuff, like him going to this apartment building. Mom opens up the door, slaps him in the face, and now he's in. So it looks like he has also lost his job, and so he's going back to mom. Very relatable, again, trying to do something, and he got his hand slapped big time. But I just love the world building here. Great shots. I mean, I think if I have to be fair, like I think that's what was missing in the book of Boba Fett, and the episodes that felt big were really the Mando one, the Mando arc, where he's kind of going planet to planet. We get to see the Halo ring. There's just some cool big moments. I felt like everything else was really tight, and obviously a lot of that has to do with the volume. Even with Mando, I feel like we visited a lot different planets and locations, and it felt big. And I love Andor feeling big, and just just this world building and everything that they're doing, all this character building that they're doing is fantastic. And I think that's where some of that we lose that a little bit, a lot in Obi-Wan, and a lot in Book of Boba. But now we're getting it tenfold with Andor, and this is like a slow burn. Totally cool with that. It doesn't mean that every episode has to be pew pew and blasters and lightsabers and all this kind of stuff. Another cool Easter egg is kyber crystal that Luthen gives to um, Cassian. It's very similar in Rogue One with Jin's mom giving her like kyber crystal. It's like and Luthen even says this is worth more than me than the 200,000, so it's to consider a down payment. It's interesting. He's like he really is trusting in Cassian, which I find very refreshing, and understanding like he knows his You know, he has real big faith in it. Um, yeah, it's just great. It's fun. I just love everything about Luthen. I love that interaction between Mon Mothma and Luthen was just, it was dynamite. It was great. Fantastic. Um, yeah, so there you go. That is, well, I was going to say chapter 4, episode 4. Super cool. Definitely, if you're not watching Andor, well, why are you listening to this podcast? Go watch Andor. Watch it a couple times. Come back, especially if you see any Easter eggs. Love to hear some Easter eggs. Anything else that caught your eye? Definitely email us at Big T Little T Podcast at gmail.com. All right. We're doing this other thing called What is Happening When or in 2018. Okay. Because we're doing episode 118, we got to talk about 2018. What's happened in 2018? I'll tell you what's happening. Solo, a Star Wars story, comes out May 25th, 2018. Probably the most visible production issues with Solo. Again, Lord Miller, they come in. They just came off of Lego Movie, and I think Into the Spider-Verse was already out at that point. No. That happened after they left. That's right. And they won an Oscar. No big deal. Lawrence Kasdan is the writer, and he wrote Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, Harold is one of the greatest Star Wars movies, but he goes on set, and Lord and Miller are doing a lot of improv and ad-libbing and didn't feel like they were staying to the script, kind of being loosey-goosey. Lawrence brings that back to Mama KK, and Mama KK comes over and fires them. And then like a week later, Ron Howard comes in and they have to do a bunch of reshoots and essentially reshoot all the movie. Most of the movie's reshot. I think the only parts, there's a couple parts they kept, and most of that is in the beginning of the film. They had to recast the villain, Dryden Voss, Dryden Voss is not the main bad. He's some other guy, but then that guy, the actor that played him, couldn't stay around, so they hired Paul Bettany. Crazy stuff, man. This is just, you can't make this stuff up. I think Rogue One was a little bit hidden when they brought in Tony. Tony basically saved that film. You hear that all the time. Gareth is barely mentioned, but now this is a big kind of deal. Another production issue with Solo. It gets, they spend all this money, and then here's really the weird thing about Solo is that after the backlash of Last Jedi in 2017, they don't push Solo to the December fall release. They want to release it in May around Star Wars time. Avengers is coming out at the same time, 2 weeks before Endgame drops, and then we got Solo, and it's only 6 months after Last Jedi. And Last Jedi, again, we could talk about it forever, but it was very controversial. No one, and it was almost like this point saturation for Solo. Great. I don't know. I love Solo. If I'm going to start with any film and you're coming in hot and you're right off the street and you don't know what Star Wars is, I would show Solo first. I think Solo is just a fun movie. It's great. I really do enjoy it. I just wish there was more. There's not more. There's a lot of push for Solo 2. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you could dream. But Ron Howard kind of saves his film or redoes the film. There's a couple, things that you could probably tweak a little bit. One of the things that's awesome and what I was so surprised is they bring back Darth Maul. Darth Maul shows up. If you haven't watched Clone Wars, you think Darth Maul's dead, but they go big. the funny thing about Darth Maul is they really want to make sure you know it is. They play Phantom Menace music, Dual Fates. They show the double lightsaber. And what's even funny is like the holograms in color. We got to see the red, the blue. Most holograms have been blue. This one's in total color so that they know, hey, this is Darth Maul. They give all the cues. Like, you're just so dumb that you don't know that this is Darth Maul. But Darth Maul. Ray Park shows up. It's great. But then we have Sam Whitwer do the voice as he does in Clone Wars and Rebels, and it's great. It's great. I think what else is happening in 2018. Jeez. Let's see. March. Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventure Season 2 released on DVD. We got Star Wars Junior Novels Expanded Edition is published. If I remember right, Expanded Edition published in March as well. It's a pretty good read. There's some other things that are in there. Battlefront 2 Inferno Squadron paperback published in March too. That's a great book. Star Wars comics. Yep, yep. Lots of solo stuff, obviously dropping then. What other things are happening in the world of Star Wars? Lots of comics. Darth Vader 19, Poe Dameron, Rebel Rising, okay, paperback. Yep. Some other things happening. Trying to think of anything significant. Lots of books. Okay, got it. Yep. Okay, anything else? Anything happened in December? Let's see. Not really. Okay. Yeah. 2018. This was a difficult year. I'm going to tell you that right now. Difficult year. That whole year, especially from a social media perspective. Uh, tough. It was rough. There you go. But yeah, that's what's happening in 2018. All right. Thank you, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses for listening to another episode of Big T, Little T, Star Wars Podcast. Hey, you can find us on the socials, Big T, Little T Podcast on Instagram, BLILT Podcast on Twitter, and then twitch.tv/Big T, Little T. Please give us a follow there. We're trying to build our viewership up. Love to see you out there. If you like games, like hanging out with us, you're going to see Little T more, Little E more, see Oreo, see them all, the whole gang. We're going to be there. Playing games. It's fun. Hey, we got stickers, pins, all kinds of stuff. If you comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts, or email us a question, bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. Like I said earlier, give us your Easter eggs, give your thoughts about Andor, drop them there, and we will read that in an upcoming episode, and then you will get a sticker, or we'll throw swag right in your face. So next time, episode 5, Andor. Definitely going to review that. Now remember, truly wonderful the mind of the child is, and may the force be with you always. Bye. See you later. Bye.